Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to the Officer Tatum Show. Filling in for me is Carl Jackson. Show some love for Carl Jackson. Carl, take it away.
All right, welcome to the Officer Tatum Show. I am your guest host, filling in for the Officer Tatum. I am Carl Jackson. You can subscribe to my podcast wherever podcasts are found. Salem Podcast Network, thecarljacksonshow.com. Such an honor and a privilege to be behind the microphone for Officer Tatum again. I've got Gabe has actually got my back. I got Sean McConnell in my ear. I know Zach is answering the calls, and I know Forgotten Man is out there somewhere. And let me just make this quick announcement. So Officer Tatum is in Texas today. So Brandon's dad is being inducted as a fire chief in Texas today. And he wanted to be there with him to honor his father's achievement. All right. All of us can congratulate Fire Chief Tatum. That's pretty cool. So thank you for your continued service as a leader of first responders. It's really cool. Really great achievement. So congratulations to Officer Tatum's dad, Fire Chief Tatum. My nephew became a firefighter. He just graduated on Friday. So that is so cool. That is so cool. All right. So welcome to the program. The number to call into the program is 844-900-7243. Again, that number 844-900-7243. There's some news. Apparently, there was more left-wing racism. Before I get to the topics of the day, the topics headed into the election cycle, into the midterms. It's going to be the borders. It's going to be the economy. We're going to talk about those things. It's going to be crime. So we're going to talk about those things. And again, you can feel free to call in to the Officer Tatum Show at 844-900-7243. I'm telling you, this stuff is getting so old, but Breitbart is just reporting this, more left-wing racism. Herschel Walker apparently was attacked at an event called a House N-word. So apparently a left-wing protester attacked Herschel Walker. I don't know if the assault was physical here, but let me just get into this slightly here as I see it's just popped up. So left-wing protesters attack Herschel Walker at event, calling him the House N-word name. So a left-wing protester allegedly attacked him. Fox News is reporting this. Walker faced the racial epithets at a campaign event held outside of Columbia Towers, an apartment building primarily owned by the church. Senator Raphael Warnock leads. That is fascinating. Fox News reported that multiple witnesses at the event, including Walker, campaign staffers, and media members, heard the protesters shout the slur. This is all a stunt. He's nothing but a House N-word, the protester said, who identified himself as Maceo Fletcher, allegedly shouted this at Walker. Too bad he won't get in the ring with Walker because he might not know that Walker practiced some MMA. A Walker campaign staffer told Fox News he heard the protester say he's a joke, he tap dances, and he's a House N-word. The protester reportedly refused to answer questions when Walker's staffers pressed him about the slur that he shouted. A Walker campaign spokesman told Fox News the protester was actually a Warnock donor who goes by a name other than Maceo Fletcher. However, Fox News has not yet verified the Walker's campaign's claims. Walker's press conference outside Columbia Towers came 1 week after the Washington Free Beacon reported that Warnock's church attempted to evict tenants for as little as $28.55 in the past rent during the pandemic. Columbia Tower at MLK Village in downtown Atlanta. That's a facility that caters to the chronically homeless, by the way, and those with mental disabilities, has found itself sued a dozen times during the pandemic. One of the latest lawsuits shows a tenant was asked to vacate the apartment building for $4,900 due in back rent, a sum that is nearly half of Warnock's pastoral monthly housing allowance. While Warnock's church tried to evict tenants, the senator earned a hefty $120,000 pastoral salary and an additional $7,417 monthly housing allowance from the church. All this came on top of his $174,000 congressional salary. So the guy is banking. Not to mention, I think he made some sweet deals while he's been in the Senate. The guy has made a lot of money in the last year. Where in Matthew 25 does it say that you can evict people who are struggling? This is what Walker said. Now, listen, a landlord has the right to do what he wants to do. I'll say that. Now, you can choose to, hey, listen, you only owe a little bit, I'm going to help you out, or what have you. Or you can choose to evict them. It's not a choice that I would have made for $28.55, but nonetheless, that's just one of those things. You can evict or you cannot evict. Not something that I would have done, and I could understand Herschel Walker saying he would pay for the mortgage. As far as the House inward, I think this stuff is getting so old. I didn't intend to start here, right? But this broken. This stuff is getting so old. It's just not helping anymore. When people can't afford groceries, when people can't afford their gas, they're not as concerned about being called some type of house Negro. Not to mention that the Republican Party is making inroads within the black community and within the Latino community. And in part, the Democrats are to blame as well, because they've been driving the minorities away from their own party with their policies. So this stuff just doesn't play as well anymore, and I don't think it's going to play as well going forward. I think people are tired of that. When black people constantly call you names just because you don't vote the way that they do, what can you do? Kick the dust off your sandals and keep on moving. That's all you can do. These are people that will absolutely never get it. These are people that have bought into cultural Marxism, and they simply will not get it. And honestly, we've got an election to win. So I give Herschel Walker credit. You knew he was going to get this type of pushback, especially in the Atlanta area. Frankly, anyone that runs as a conservative, whether a black conservative, Latino conservative, a white conservative, you are going to catch flack that the Democrat Party simply won't, it just won't happen as far as Democrats are concerned. You're going to get a level of flack that they simply will not get. The Danchenko story. Danchenko found innocent on all 5 charges. 1 charge was already dropped, but today he's found innocent of all 5 charges. Guys, there is no justice in Washington, D.C. Don't be surprised about this verdict. There's no justice there. The only way that we're going to start seeing justice in Washington, D.C. is once we kick some booty on November 8th. And once we kick these Democrats out of office. Right now, the FBI, sadly, the DOJ, are an extension of the Democrat Party. And I would guess this. Regardless of whether or not the jury thought the evidence was sufficient or not, as to whether or not Danchenko lied to the FBI, and it's pretty clear that he did, frankly, I'm not sure that you could find a jury that either wouldn't be biased towards anything that's a Durham investigation related to Trump. But I'm also concerned that the FBI has so much power, and that they've been so abusive under the leadership of Joe Biden. Would you want to find anyone associated with them guilty? I hate that we've gotten to that point, but we've gotten to that point. And the only way that we're going to change that is to kick these people out once again on November 8th. That is the solution. Now, many of you are hurting in this economy, in the Biden economy, and this is what I want to get to. The economy isn't the sexiest thing to talk about, but I want to I want to motivate you today. There's going to be a lot of distractions before the midterms. We have just 3 weeks from today that we get to fight for freedom in America. And I'm so excited about that. But many of you are struggling with the economy. A lot of things are happening that aren't going well, and actually will probably get worse for all of us financially after the midterms. I'm just going to shoot straight with you. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. But I want to talk to you about someone who is doing very well and has been doing very well despite the bad economy. And he's been doing well for quite some time. I'm going to talk to you about the state of where the economy, or what the economy might be looking like for you in a very short period of time. We've got to go to break here shortly. But I'm also going to talk to you about some evidence, more evidence that's emerged about the Biden crime family and the money they were making. So apparently, Tony Bobulinski, if you guys saw the interview with Tucker Carlson, he mentioned on that interview that he had some emails that were straight up evidence of the corruption with the big guy and Hunter Biden. Well, Just the News has gotten their hands on some of this information, and so is Senator Chuck Grassley. We're going to go through some of that stuff. This is Carl Jackson in for the Officer Tatum.